My thing is to ask you a question that I've already asked you so many times. And yet I need to ask it again, especially after last night. Why the hell are the New York Giants in prime time again? How many times do I have to ask this question? Why do I have to? Why do I have to? Why do they keep doing that? Why do they keep putting them on TV? As always, I'm fine if the Giants want to suck. If they want to embarrass a once proud organization on a weekly basis, that is their prerogative. But do it on your own time and do it far away from me. But when you do this in my living room, then we've got a problem, a national problem. Primetime games are supposed to be special. They're supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be competitive. They're not supposed to be a punishment or a kick in the package. Why are you punishing me? What are you punishing me for? I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do to deserve this? What did I do to have to endure another serving of the New York Giants on my TV? The hell am I being subjected to this clown show for on the regular? Why do you keep putting these people on? Are you thinking that they're going to improve? They're not. If anything, they're getting worse. All of them. All of it. Much worse. It's the exact same thing every single time. The Giants go out, they get on TV, and then they puke all over themselves. Daniel Jones looks bewildered by basic concepts. They lose, and then Joe Judge rolls in, talking all tough in his postgame about fixing it and talking ownership and discipline. It's like the worst movie ever. It's like the NFL version of Ishtar. No, even worse, it's like the NFL version of, I don't know, Space Jam 2. Yeah, well, while the Bucs weren't perfect last night, in fact, they were far from it. They were better than the Giants. And if the Bucs were a very dumb team last week, then the Giants were deeply stupid last night. See, here's the thing about Tampa Bay. Here's the thing about the Bucs coming out last night. I'm not even sure how good they are or aren't. I'm not even sure if they are good or not because the Giants are just that bad. They lost 30-10, and they were lucky that that's all that was. If the Bucs actually executed and did not hand them a TD, that's a 45-3 game and probably worse because that's who the Giants are. Complete garbage. Garbage. But of course, this is not the way Joe Judge sees it. Old Joseph has everything under control. I mean, is there anything more tired than that? How many times have we heard that speech? Every time. Every Sunday. It's the same exact speech. Yeah, I don't know. I really thought that the fight in training camp and making guys run laps and gassers was going to fix this entire thing. I really thought that all of that was going to make Daniel Jones the next Y.A. Tittle and Joe Judge the next Bill Parcells. I thought going ultimate meathead and lecturing everybody and talking down to everybody was going to make them a Super Bowl team. Shock of all shocks. They're 3-7 and they're horrible to look at. It's the same crap every single time they're on TV. Dumb mistakes, bad execution, no discipline, and a quarterback who goes brain dead on a regular basis. And there's always some excuse. There's always some excuse. Last night, though, they had no excuse. They had Daniel Jones. They had Andrew Thomas. They had Saquon Barkley. They had their 3 first-round picks. They had it all. They had everything they were supposed to have, and it still sucked. All those first-round picks, all those free agent signings on offense, and they managed exactly 1 TD, and it was on a 5-yard drive. Saquon Barkley had 25 rushing yards against a Bucs defense that was missing Vita Vea. He had 31 receiving yards. He's gone over 100 total yards once in 6 games this year. Kenny Golladay, their big offseason signing, was there, and he did nothing. I'm not going to say that Kenny Galladay signing was a bad signing, but when your left tackle has more TDs than your big free agent wide receiver, then that's a problem. Man, and don't fall for this junk from the postgame that it's all on Jason Garrett. I know that Joe Judge was only too happy to run Garrett in front of that oncoming bus because it protects him. It makes him seem tough. This is not all on Garrett. Far be it for me to come in here and have to defend the clapper. The clapper. Right? I mean, that's the last thing I want to do. But this is not on the clapper. This is on the head coach. This is on the front office. This is on ownership. Jason Garrett is not the one out there drafting Daniel Jones. Steve McClendon is in his 12th NFL season and did not have an INT until he saw Daniel Jones. And Jones split his numbers with that ball. McClendon has played 160 games. Not only has he not had an interception before last night, he had a total of 3 passes defensed. What I'm saying is, this guy did not have an interception and never even came close to it until Daniel Jones. Firing Jason Garrett is not going to make Daniel Jones better, and it's not going to make Joe Judge better, and it's not going to make Dave Gettleman better. Firing Jason Garrett is like changing the curtains on the Titanic. Think of the worst quarterback in the NFL. Think of the guy who has turnovers at an ungodly rate. Now think of Daniel Jones, because he is that guy. He leads the league in turnovers since he started playing, and he's got 10 wins in his last 35 starts. Remember when Baker Mayfield, and yes, I understand that Baker has got plenty of his own issues right about now, but remember when Baker Mayfield told GQ, quote, "I cannot believe the Giants took Daniel Jones. It blows my mind. Some people overthink it. That's where people go wrong. They forget you've got to win." End of quote. And remember how much heat Baker took for that. Yeah, well, if you're one of those guys giving him that heat, you owe him an apology. Yeah, Baker, on the other hand, better start winning some games too. However, he's not wrong about Daniel Jones. Hear me out on this. Maybe taking Daniel Jones as high as they did was actually a terrible idea. Maybe crowning him as the savior after one single start was truly moronic. Just like maybe racing to hire Joe Judge before Mississippi State could get him was legitimately moronic too. This is the same guy who put up a basketball hoop outside the team facility and wait for the explanation from this rocket scientist as to why he did it. Quote, "The reason I put it out there is it's getting colder." And you start talking about the skill players. You're trying to teach them to use fine motor skills through cold weather. So you take the gloves off and you put them out there when you have breaks during the day, during lunch, in between meetings. You tell them to go out there. It's really about more dribbling the basketball. If you tell them to just bounce the ball over and over and over, it gets boring. You throw a hoop in front of it. They're going to dribble the ball. They're going to train their hands, increase their fine motor skills, and shoot it. On a day like today, it's nice and brisk. When it really benefits them is in a few weeks when it gets cold and they get out there and they play and they chop it up about 5 minutes at a time. It's something I've used before for players when it gets cold. You start to get them using their hands in the cold weather to get used to the feeling. End of quote. Oh, dang. Check out Vince Lombardi. Check out Bill Parcells. WTF, I mean, like, is there anybody who buys this guy's crap at all anymore? Does anybody really think the problem with that team is the lack of, quote, fine motor skills of the skill players in cold weather, and that having them play basketball at lunch is going to fix that? Has anyone been thinking, man, if the G-men just played a little more basketball in the cold when they had 5 minutes at a time, they'd be better at football? But this dude continues to walk around like he's the baddest, smartest, toughest dude in the room. And his team is not smart, nor tough, nor disciplined. Firing Jason Garrett is not going to fix that. Just hit Control, Alt, Delete on the entire organization. Put everything and everybody involved in a cardboard box, leave it on the curb, and then hang a sign around it that reads, "If you can haul it, you can have it." Because the only way to improve this is to set that whole damn thing on fire. And the last bleeping thing that I need, and for the last bleeping time, keep this clown show off my TV and out of my living room so I don't need to start another Tuesday with this same take again on this show. You're taking years off my life. And yes, I'm taking this personally. Stop putting that ass on my TV. I can't watch it anymore. I can't go over this again. They were even worse than expected last night. 1-800-636-8686. I mean, how long before I roll back in to the NFL Today on CBS and have to do yet another take on the state of football in New York? I've already done that too. Come on, man. Do better. And by better, I mean blow that whole bleeping thing up. Again, Tampa. Yeah, I'd love to say that your season is going to turn on that game, that you recaptured your swag, your mojo, your juju, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know if that's true. Well, I mean, what did you really do last night? You beat down that clown show again. I don't know how good you are.